welcome to another episode of Depreciation Nation on this rather wet day in Atlanta, Georgia, where I've got my Project X3 right here. And today, as promised, we're going to start to attack some of the motor work, the AC compressor replacement, the catalytic converter replacement, and then the valve cover gasket replacement. The process is relatively simple and relatively straightforward, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's particularly easy due to the clearance issues that we have inside the engine bay of this vehicle. In order to replace the catalytic converters, not only do we have to disconnect the exhaust flange and remove all of the bolts along the cylinder head securing the catalytic converters to the cylinder head, we also have to remove the right engine mount, and we also have to support the motor while we do that. And even then, space is relatively tight. Similarly with the AC compressor, we have to remove the coolant system to access the AC compressor. And even once we have all of those necessary components out of the way, it's not particularly easy to get at. So I'm going to apologize in advance for perhaps some of the limited views on the footage that you're going to see. But we're still going to walk you through the process, and we're still going to show you how it's done, and we're still going to show you the work that went into it. So thanks for joining us, and enjoy the process. So today we're going to be replacing the valve cover gasket on our X3 project here with this Corteco unit that we bought from our friends at FCP Euro. Without further ado, let's get started. So the very first thing we've got to do in this process is remove the cabin filter tray there at the back of the engine bay. Now we've got to remove all of the ignition coils, and in order to do that, we're just going to lift up on the clip, which is going to release the power source. And then we're going to remove each ignition coil separately. So our valve cover's reinstalled, torqued down to the factory recommended 10 pound-feet. So we're gonna start replacing the ignition coils. So that finishes up our valve cover gasket replacement. Not really an instructional or a how-to, but just a general synopsis of how we rehab these cars that we buy so inexpensively. The process from start to finish took me somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes, and it's something very simple that you could do yourself at home. And so that wraps up the motor work on this car. We've cleared the codes for the catalytic converters. Our air conditioning now blows ice cold, and our valve cover no longer leaks oil. So again, as I mentioned, very simple, very straightforward. Not particularly easy and going to require some patience for you, but at the end of the day, our car functions as it should, and our codes have been eliminated. So thanks for joining us for this episode. And next we're going to attack some of the interior work that needs to be done. So remember, comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification to join our nation.